everybody. Well, here it's Saturday. Nice today. Got the garage door open. Supposed to get maybe a high of 80 or something today. Shut that up. Well, wait a minute. Gives me some illumination. Today I'm going to take the rest of the brake system off. Take that back caliper off and the line. I think I'm going to replace that if I can get the motor and everything running. The chain, I actually have it in a nice little circle now. It's not all kinked up. I might put that on the bike today, jack up the back, and just spin the wheel around and get the kinks out of it. In my mind, what I plan on doing is once I get the engine started and warmed up a little bit, not too long, just run it for a little bit, maybe a minute or so, shut it off and drain the oil. The oil has gas mixed in with it. I want to drain that out, and I'm going to use that gas oil mixture to pour over this chain and let it soak while I do all the other stuff on here. Has a little gas in it, which kind of loosen up more. It's probably what's kinking up the chain, and then the oil to get into the little seals and O-rings in that chain to loosen it up a little bit. I don't want to pull the exhaust off this. Thinking maybe something might have got up in the exhaust. Maybe it's got a little back pressure. It sounded like it was running okay. I didn't see anything fly out of it, but I just want to take it off. Alrighty. I went to loosen this one bolt off, and that thing was on there finger tight. It didn't take too much. That to loosen up. One on the here on the manifold. Getting off the head here. That one wasn't on very tight either. Huh. Okay. We'll put those back on. Oop. That should have a little run. There we go. Alright. All kinds of stuff falling off here. Washers and rings and stuff. Okay. And I already had this loose back here. Get the muffler off the back. See how this thing comes up and out of here. Not much to it. Have to blow some air through there. Just make sure that this is nothing in there blocking it. Huh. Okay, let's see, shake it, see if we hear anything. Something in there. Oh, yeah. Did you see that? Well, okay. This came out. This is nice and clean here. Yeah, see, we got some stuff in there. It's got fluid in it yet. Watch I don't make too much of a mess with it. Okay. Should be a couple bolts here. Here we go. Huh. Yeah, seems like it goes in. Just kind of working it along. It's a little kinky. little jumpy. There we go. There's a kink there too. That's still there. Come on. There we go. Alright. Alright. Well, that's a nice mess underneath here, but hey, it's working well. Alright, well that turned out well. Took me about 20 minutes to get that chain on there, trying to finagle everything, so I just loosened up all the bolts on the rear axle, slid it as far forward as I could get it. I put the link in the chain, and then I fed the chain. Did I feed it under or over? Let's see here. Let's see. I fed it under the sprocket and then pulled it around the top of the sprocket, because that's the way the wheels drive forward, and it popped on, and then I went back and kind of adjusted it to get the little kinks to get it somewhat in a line with the front, the back and the front kind of close, and then I turned the camera on, and then that's where we came in. Tap it on the chain with the hammer on the sprocket, kind of get it to lay down, plus putting some more of this penetrating oil and then moving it instead of just letting it sit in there is helping it a lot. So I'll be doing that back and forth today, and then probably throw some floor dry down there. The back brake line between the front reservoir and lever to the back caliper, the line is 51 inches. So I'll have to look on my on Amazon what I did, and I'm gonna have to, probably the next one, I'm gonna have to start putting things in the description of the parts that I put on this bike. I'm pretty bad about that, and sometimes I say, yeah, it'll be in the description below, and then I forget about it. So I'm kind of in a hurry sometimes just to get it posted. I just posted part 1 today. I kid you not, I have 15 segments of part 2, so hopefully it's not going to be hopefully it's not going to be too long. I don't like to make them too long, because then you're like, oh my God, Rick, would you just get to the point, you know? And sometimes I'm yelling at the thing for people. It's like, oh my God, are we there yet? So that's about all for today. I think that's all I can do until tomorrow I get the harness, and then we'll go over that. So I might have to do cleaning up some of the floor and putting away some of the tools I'm not going to use. Get them back on my little rack. And that hose, I noticed the hose in the back here by the back caliper, I bent that. It's all cracked. It's all weather cracked really bad, and there's no way I'm going to sell this to somebody with brakes that are kind of iffy, you know. I don't care if I sell it as is. I want the brakes to be right. So, we'll be back probably on Sunday. Alright, till then, different colored shirt on Sunday. Amazon delivery guy just dropped it off. It's pretty cool. Had electric delivery vehicle. So on this, I should just be able to hook up the hot wire. Goes to the starter, and then as soon as I hit the ground, the starter should spin over, and we should see what kind of compression we have. Alright, somewhere. The back wheel's turning. Well, shows 100. That's good. It's not as good as it could be, but it's good. Let's try this again. That one was about 80. One more try here. And that's 80. Alrighty. Man, that's really pushing it. To whether this thing is going to run or not. It's a scary thing. Let me put you back here where I got some. I was afraid of that. 80 psi. That's almost on the line of lame. I did receive my other harness. It's in this bag. Now I don't know what I want to do with this thing. I'm going to have to think about this, whether I want to go forward with this or not, because then, I don't know. Okay. Hey, I got my trailer washed today, and I'm going to cover it up for about 2.5 months here, or a couple months, and then we'll be able to go out camping. So I've been wanting to wash this for the last 2 months. Yeah, I get kind of lazy. Alright, I'll be back with a plan. Gotta unwrap it. All this fun stuff. Look at all this stuff. All the goodies. One thing people said about this kit is they liked the way that the harness was, the wires were heavier. And considering the wire harness that was on this bike, I don't know if it's been replaced or not, was pretty thin, skimpy wires. These wires are really nice. They're a good, solid wires. A lot of people praise this because of that. So that's one of the reasons. It had a lot of good, a lot of stars. I think it was 4 stars, 4.5 stars. So there's a tail light. We're not going to use the tail light. What do we have here? Let's just see. Here's the stator. I'm going to take the stator. It's a 6-pole stator. We'll be putting that in. Side cover over here on the bench. Here's the switch for the left-hand side. That's the starter button. There's your light, and then there's your kill switch. Okay. Here's your that's the voltage, or what do they call this again? What do they call that? Coil, key switch, head CID, function switch. This is the rectifier. Okay, rectifier. Turns when it comes out of the stator at AC. It goes in here at AC, comes out DC, and goes to the battery. Charges it. Rectifier. On a car, it would be called a regulator. Alright, what do we have here? Let's see what it is. This is the starter relay. Got some wires on it here. They got everything all twisted up. Putting this up on this end, this is kind of the front of the bike. This is the stuff on the back of the bike. And what else we have? This is the CDI box. There it is. This is the key switch. See, key switch, 4-prong plug. The CDI is 5. Rectifier is 4, 2 in, 2 out. This is a safety thing. I'll talk to you about that later. And this is your coil. This is spark plug. Spark plug's kind of a neat little thing. I might have showed it on the last one. It's got 4 little prongs on it, and there's no gap or anything. It's kind of what is it? That one spark plug I bought for my truck. E3 spark plugs have this type of design. And let's take this coil. Spread that out. Okay. Coil. Okay, we're trying to go from try to find the back to the front. Well, you can kind of figure out the back is because this is for the battery. The battery is kind of the middle. This is the back. So there's the battery. So there's the middle. Here's a bunch of the colored plugs that go into the stator. I'm sorry. I know what I'm talking about, but you can't see them. These wires. Right here. The blue one is the pickup. And then these other ones are charging, and then there's a green ground. I'm not sure what, let's see. I just know that the ground, this is the pulse that sends the signal to the CDI, and then the CDI sends a signal out to the coil to make it fire. I think these are the 2 that go to the rectifier, and I'm not sure what the red and black one is. This might be a ground, another ground, because it's got a black line in it. I think there's another ground. I think there might be 2 grounds. Green is the ground, and then the other one. I don't know. Something like that. Then it has a fusible link, old tube-styled fuse. And then you come to the front. There's all kinds of plugs here, and then these 2 little plugs here, this little cord here, this goes up to your handbrake. Remember I showed you those 2 little wires on the brake reservoir lever, all one piece. These 2 plug into that, so when you pull into that, it'll send juice all the way to the very back, which is one of these two. Tell you, this thing drives me crazy. Before I even come down here to film, I open it up and look at the battery. Battery shows 3 bars. I come down and I start filming. I was almost done with this one here, and the screen goes black and the battery's dead. Okay, so where I left off was, sends power from the switch in the front, goes to the taillight. One of these here is for the taillight switch, which is that. Okay, so let's go from the back to the front. And these here are tied together. You can go ahead and cut that. I'm sorry, this got a piece of tape. You can go ahead and cut that, pull this thing apart, or just pull it off like that. There you go. And let loose your cables. There's a hot wire. One of these hot wires goes to the, goes back here to the solenoid. Doesn't matter which one of the wires you hook on here. That's one of the wires you hook on here, and I'll have to get a wrench for that. One of these. Put the positive on here. And that is a 10mm. Then the other one here is from the that wire from the starter that we didn't get rid of on the, we kept it on the bike. Okay, so up here should be the rectifier. Let's see what the instructions say for the rectifier. Rectifier shows a yellow, a red, a green, and a white. I don't know if you can see that on here. Let's get it up there. Right, the tip of my finger. That's the rectifier, and that's the colors I'm looking for. Yellow. There we go. Here's one that's got yellow, green, red, and white. Actually has a number on it. Yellow, green, red, and white. Right there. There's the colors. You can only plug in one way. See, there's a little notch there. And then this thing has a notch on the top there. And it plugs in like that. Into the notch. Don't just jam it in there. Move it back and forth. Get it to fit in there before you push it all the way home here. Okay, it's snapped in place. Okay, rectifiers. And that's done. We have another one in the back here. I have made some notes. This the one is why I couldn't get the bike to turn over. It was this safety wire, the one that I put the wires together on. And that's a green and yellow, which is in the back here. Green, yellow with a red line. And there it is. This is on the back. Green with a black line, yellow with a red line. We just plug that in here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, where am I at here? Isn't that it? Oh, that's from there. Oh, that's from there. Wait a minute. Green and yellow. So it's yellow with a red line. Okay, yellow with a red line and green. Sorry, wrong line. Yellow with a red line and green. That other one was for the, and then push it in there. It's got a little deal right there that snaps right into it. Push it down a little bit. There we go. Because if you don't have this, the starter won't turn. This is a safety wire. It's there's one of those things here. This is the other thing that came with it. You put this on the handlebar, and you tether this to you. You tie it to you. So if you fall off the bike, it pulls this wire out of a switch in here, and what it does, when it pulls that wire off, it breaks this circuit that I have screwed together here. It'll break that circuit and kills everything. You won't have start, nothing. Shuts the ignition off, shuts the start off. So that's why I couldn't even get the start working before, because of that safety. Some things you learn the first time around, huh? Alright. Switch, that's up forward. Yeah, then there's another wire that hooks into here. Hooks into the starter. That's it. Starter relay. So those go down there. This is up here. Okay. So let me look. Shows the tail light. Actually shows that green and red thing. It shows on here. It doesn't show it as a safety. It shows it as a relay. So that relay, maybe that's what they call in China. Maybe they call a relay a safety. I don't know. I noticed that before. I was doing all this stuff. So that's taken care of for the back part, and then we have the wires here for the stator. So that takes care of the back. Now we're moving our way forward. And where is this? Green. Ah, here it is. Alright, we have a green and red. Move you in, zoom you in a little bit. Yellow, red, green, and white. This is the starter solenoid. It has a yellow, red, green, and black. This one is green and white, but it's the one. And we just snap that together. There we go. Let's see here. Let's go to the front. So this has got 5 pins. There's not too many things in here. That's 6 pins. Six pins, I think, is for that. So we should have 5 pins. Here's 5 pins. And that is the CDI box. And CDI box here. Let's see, put my finger on it. There we go. There's the CDI box right there. And that shows, get the magnifying glass out here. Shows a yellow, a green, oh my god, a white, something else here. But it has 5 pins. You can look at these pins on here. Alright, hang on. You notice there's 3 on the bottom, 2 at the top, and a space in the middle that's missing? Well, here's the end. 3 in the bottom, 2 in the top, 1 in the middle missing. That's where it goes. And it is green, blue, black, yellow, and red. Now, this is the one I had a little bit of a problem trying to get it to start last time. So I had to kind of, it wouldn't start, so I had to kind of wiggle this thing around here. So the pins weren't quite just lining up right off the bat. There we go. There we go. Yeah, just so don't force it in there. I had to wiggle that a little bit to get it in there. Okay, so we got the CDI box. Well, the next one here, 6 pins. And there's only one left that has 6 pins. That's that one there. It's brown, green, white, black, blue. So that's this one here. We'll put that together now. Just take your time, get everything to fit. So it's got 6 pins. You got to get all those 6 to line up. They don't talk about some of these being difficult. They say just push it together. There we go. See it? Oh, sorry. There we go. That one I kind of had to take it and angle it a little bit to get it in there. Okay, so then there's another wire here, which is for the ignition. Just had written that down. So that one is, this is red and gray, and this is green and white. Green, white, and it's 2 wires. Green, white, and black. That's not green and white. It's only a double connector for 2. That's for 3. That's for 2. Just green and white and black. So maybe this one doesn't have the white stripe like the other harness did, but this is where this one goes. If that doesn't fit there, we'll know right away because the thing won't start. Okay, so that takes care of there. The coil is here. Ignition coil. Yellow and blue and green. Well, yellow and black. I thought it was blue, but it's black. Put those in there. Green goes with the green. Move that up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. It's got a little piece of plastic right here. Pull that back a little bit. Push it in there, nice and tight, like that. You can hear it snap usually. There we go. Now we'll push that up over the top of it. That's that connector. Now we got another one here. We're going to pull this plastic back. Pull that little piece of plastic back, and we're going to stick that one in there too. This is the same thing as when you do the stator, but I'll show you about what I had to do to the stator wires. Okay. And then the ignition switch is a 4-pronger. I think there's only one 4-prong up here. Yeah. There's one 4-prong there. Shows the red at the bottom. And this one here, the red is at the bottom. The white, the green are all in the right place, so we just wiggle that together. And that's all put together there. So we have the... I can back this up a little bit now. So now we have the switch with the starter wire. That's all hooked up. That's in place. Got the coil. That's all hooked up. You have the key, that's hooked up. These extra lights here are for lights. These extra two right here. There's a green, a white, green, and blue, and this other one is a white, green, and blue. These are for your headlights. Okay. So let me zoom down into these stator ones here. What the heck? This battery's low. This is the third battery. This is the Sony battery. I've had this camera for 5 years. So those two batteries that are going bad aren't as good as the original Sony battery. So let's hope this one doesn't go bad. It's got 3 bars right up here. Right up there. There's 3 bars. That's what I had before. Okay, I was getting into the stator. Here's the stator. Wires. Let me go grab the stator here. Take this out of the wrapper. This is kind of where I messed up last time when I pushed the wires in. I had a wire fall out. I didn't push them in far enough. So on this stator here, you can take this casing and slide it back. Let me back it up a little bit there. So you can see, I'm sliding this casing this way. So I'm grabbing the wires and just pulling it. See? So now I've got dangly wires. And let's zoom in on the dangly wires now. This is what they didn't do on some of the other ones. They didn't zoom in far enough for me to see what was going on. So here's the dangly wires. What you can do is just pull these wires back so that you can just push those down in there. You just push them real easy. Don't force them, just push them real easy. If you get one kind of resistance, turn it a little bit back and forth between your fingers. Green one stays the way it is. Okay. So these, here's a, let's hook up the green one here. That's the ground. Where's that blue one? Well, is this a different color now? There it is. There's the blue and the white. That's this thing here. This is when your flywheel goes around. This little thing here picks up that little thing right here. When your flywheel goes past that, and there's a little magnet on your flywheel, it sends a pulse, and that pulse is what goes up to your CDI box. So the pulse goes up to the CDI box, goes into the CDI box, out of the CDI box to your coil, and fires the spark plug. So that's this wire here, the blue and white wire. So what happens here is you can see, alright, let's zoom in more. And I'll tip this up. I'm looking at it right here as you see it. This blue and white, you see how that just kind of slides over it? Doesn't really clip in. It just kind of slides over it. Trying to get all the other wires out of the way. Slides over it. It doesn't quite get tight. Well, I'm going to show you a little deal. And I'll go up here. So I have to look at the my little screen so I can see what's going on. Alright. Let's just back this off a little bit. We'll get it in there. Right there. There's a seam. See the seam there? The seam goes up. So this is like a C. Get my pointer here. Right there, there's the seam. There's a seam that goes up and down right there. So, if you look at this thing, it looks circular, but there's a split in between. So what you do is you go right on the edge of that split, and you take your wire deals or a pair of pliers, very gently, you want to get on the edge of that seam and squeeze it together just very lightly, just a little bit. And I don't know if you can see what I see, just so very lightly. And now I've got it crimped a little bit. You can see this side here. This is lower. This side here is lower than the other side. And now that should fit into that thing, into that wire more tightly than if you didn't. So if I slide it in there, just by crimping it a little bit, I could probably crimp it a little bit more. It could use a little bit, it could be tighter yet. But I'll do that when I put this harness on the bike. So basically that's kind of all there is to this harness thing. Of course you have a, this is the ground wire, which will go on the side of the case. And I'll show you that case wired too. They say that, some people say that you should, this ground wire to the stator, you should hook an extra ground, which I might do later on. But this stator needs to go in the side case, but that's for another thing here. I'll show you that here in a little bit. But this is basically the whole wiring from the front to the back. I might finish this tomorrow. I got my Mr. Pibb, me and Mr. Pibb. So that's all there is to that wiring. Hopefully I've hooked it all up there and it's going to work just fine. And so now I got to drag the bike out of the corner where I kind of threw it up there. Slid it up in there a few days ago and get it out of the corner so I can work on it again. And I'm going to have to order a couple more batteries. Hello everybody, am I all the way back here? Yep, I am. Alright, talking to you on my last battery. This is a Sony battery. Alright, I got 4 bars, so talk quick. So let's get the stator in today, and then we'll put the wiring harness on. Hello. Somebody's outside. Turn the gas on. See if we can't get this puppy to fire. Alrighty. So let's get at putting the stator on here. And then if you ever want to turn the engine over, let's see this. If you ever want to turn this engine over with this cover on, you take this out of here, and there's a nut on that flywheel. You can turn it around to get to your top dead center. Alright. The back of the case here. Now I'm looking for my wrench. There it is. Just need to snug that up for a ground. Alright. Here's the coil. Let's get the spark plug in there. So we're going to have to see if we got some spark after all this work. Been there before. Alright, there's that's sitting there. Nice and pretty. I don't think, oh gosh. Come on, Bubba. Okay. And my battery pack. Yeah, I wanted to ground this, didn't I? I don't think it needs to be ground, the coil, but I'm going to ground it anyhow. Put that ground there. Put that ground there. I think it'll spark just the way it is. Okay, negative to the negative, wherever that's at. Here's the negative. And here's the positive. Okay, turn it on, turn the key on, key's on, switches on, should turn over. Unless this thing is dead. Oh my god, this thing is dead. Ah! Okay. Alright, we gotta charge this thing up. Well, you missed it. Smoke started coming out of this case. You can see the smoke right here. Smoke is coming out from the stator. Oh, Jesus criminy. You gotta be shitting me. This is the second wiring. Second one. Oh my god. Really? Okay. Okay, well, we'll take it all apart again. All the wires are hooked up right. All the wires are hooked up right. This whole thing is hot. Whole thing is hot. Gee whiz. What the fuck? Okay. Now, let's see what burned up on the stator. That one came out. That one came out. Nuts. Son of a bitch. This thing isn't really cutting me any slack. Really not at all. I don't know. Oh, look at that. Burned up under the coils. I'll get you up here on the bench. I'll be back. Ooh, this stinks. Look at that. There you go. Nice and black. Look at that. Had all the wires hooked up right. I double checked myself in case I did something wrong. I did not. Yep, she's hot. Oh! I can't do anything but laugh. I know it's not funny and it stinks. Ah! Well, I guess I send this one back and say, keep it. I'm going to have to find another source. I'll have to find another one with a 6 coils and start all over. Oh, son of a bitch. Time for Mr. Pibb. It's time for Mr. Pibb. Okay. I'm going to shut everything off and go upstairs and tell Flo. Oh, man. We were so close. Guess I'll shut the gas off while I'm thinking about it. Don't forget, it's not leaking or anything. But I'll shut the gas off. If the old wiring harness wasn't so crispy as a crispy, I tried putting that son of a bitch back on, considering the problems I've been having with this one. God. All right, I don't know what. I'm gonna have to order another harness, and we'll take it from there. So, this is Rick, ordering another harness. See you next time. All right, we have spark. The new harness is in. We have spark. Let's see if we can't get it started. Keyed on. That's on. Choke. Alright, let's see what happens. Now we'll put the exhaust back on it. Shut this off. Alright. Woohoo! The happy dance. Yeah, I think I need a wire in here. Woo! I'm gonna let all the exhaust go out for a while. Woo. It's alive. It runs. Oh, God. Your prayers have been answered. On the last one I said, please pray for me. Nice and warm. Yeah. I think I'll drain that oil out. Put some new oil in there. And part of that spitting and sputtering could be because I don't have a air filter on it too. So we'll have to see about that. Alright. Got it dialed in. On. Set, just let it run for a little bit. Put a piece of screen, like window screen, I doubled it over to make a little resistance so I could dial in the carburetor. So I'm going to let it run for a few more minutes. I'm going to shut it off, then I'm going to drain the oil, because that oil has a lot of gas in it. Oh my God. Whew. Man, am I glad that's running. Man, I tell you what. Holy cow. This is an uphill battle. All the way. The throttle cable is sticking. Had some high revs there for a while. and the boot's ripped, so I'm going to get another throttle cable for it. Cha-ching! Some more money. Alright, I think this is a very successful end for part 3, and then I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do from here on in. It's running, changing the oil. I'm going to keep starting it for a few days, make sure it keeps starting and running before I move forward. Alright, well, this is Rick. Be nice to your neighbor. This is the end of part 3. It's running, yeah. The happy dance. Alright, bye.